Everything in Percy Jackson begins with the Primordials, the original forces that shaped the universe long before the gods ever existed. Chaos. Chaos is the first primordial being in the Riordanverse, the void, the absence, and the foundation upon which all reality forms. It doesn't function as a character in the traditional sense. Instead, chaos is the raw state of the universe before existence stabilizes. In Percy Jackson, chaos is referenced as the origin of every major cosmic force, including the Titans, the Giants, and the Olympians. Its power isn't destructive or active, it's existential. Nothing supersedes chaos because the universe itself is an extension of it. While not a plot-driving figure, chaos is essential for understanding the hierarchy of power. Everything else, even Tartarus and Nyx, exists because chaos existed first. Gaia. Gaia is the personification of the Earth and one of the most active primordial antagonists in the series. As the mother of the Titans, the Giants, and numerous monsters, she represents the foundational force beneath all life. Her ability set centers on absolute control over the Earth. Earthquakes, stone manipulation, resurrecting fallen monsters, and sensing any disturbance on her surface. In the Heroes of Olympus, Gaia manipulates demigods, causes natural disasters, and prepares her giants to overthrow the Olympians. Her primary limitation is that she cannot fully awaken unless the blood of two demigods, one Greek and one Roman, is spilled. Once awakened, she becomes nearly unstoppable, though she is ultimately defeated through an airborne strategy that bypasses her domain. Uranos. Uranos is the primordial sky, forming the upper half of the early cosmic structure. He is known for ruling the sky with strict authority and suppressing his Titan children. His downfall occurs when Kronos castrates him, separating sky from Earth and initiating the Titan ascendancy. In the Riordanverse, Uranos isn't a present character, but his influence defines the structure of the cosmos. His power includes atmospheric control, storms, and the upper realm of the world, making him one of the first cosmic rulers. His defeat fragments his essence but does not destroy him, as primordials cannot be permanently killed, only dispersed. Tartarus. Tartarus is both a primordial entity and a physical realm, an infinite pit where monsters regenerate and enemies of the gods are imprisoned. As a being, Tartarus is conscious, malevolent, and able to manifest humanoid forms. His power is absolute within his domain, shaping terrain, summoning monsters, manipulating the air, and inflicting psychological torment. In the House of Hades, Tartarus is one of the few beings capable of overpowering Percy and Annabeth simultaneously. His essence forms the very structure of the pit, and destroying him is impossible. His limitation is that outside Tartarus, his form weakens significantly, making him largely bound to his domain. Nyx. Nyx is the primordial goddess of night, and one of the most intimidating entities Percy ever encounters. She rules a section of Tartarus in complete darkness and travels in a chariot pulled by shadow-like horses. Her power is psychological as much as physical. She can manipulate fear, create illusions of darkness, and summon her countless children, many of which are embodiments of negative forces. Nyx represents the boundary between the tangible and the intangible, making her extremely difficult to fight. Percy cannot overpower her and must escape instead. Even other primordials treat her with caution. Erebus. Erebus is the primordial of darkness, not night, but the void-like darkness that fills the gaps in existence. Erebus represents shadow, depth, and the spaces where light cannot reach. While not a major character in the books, he is one of the earliest forces to emerge from chaos and forms a duality with Nyx. His presence helps shape the underworld and other liminal spaces. In myth and implied lore, Erebus's power influences shadow travel, portals, and transitions between realms. Hemera. Hemera is the goddess of day, acting as the counterpart to Nyx. Where Nyx brings night, Hemera disperses it. Her role in Percy Jackson is indirect but cosmologically important. She represents the cycle of day and night that governs the mortal and divine worlds. Her power stabilizes light and counters the effects of night-based primordial forces. Although she does not appear directly, Hemera is part of the primordial structure that allows the world to function predictably. Ether. Ether is the primordial of the upper air, the pure, bright atmosphere that the gods breathe. He embodies radiance, light, and clarity. Ether forms the energetic environment above the mortal realm and below the sky of Uranos. His existence explains how divine beings operate in higher planes and how the world maintains a distinction between mortal air and divine air. Like Hemera, he does not appear as a character, but he is foundational to the cosmology of the Riordanverse. Pontus. Pontus is the primordial god of the sea before Poseidon. He is the father of many early sea deities and represents the raw, untamed ocean as a force rather than a personality. In Percy Jackson, Pontus appears briefly during the Son of Neptune, where he shows disdain for both gods and demigods. His power includes aquatic manipulation, ocean creation, and influence over ancient sea creatures. Pontus is older than Poseidon and operates independently of the Olympian hierarchy. Kronos. Kronos is not a primordial god, but he is the direct product of the primordial era and the central figure who ends it. Born from Gaia and Uranus, Kronos inherits the strength of the earth and the reach of the sky. His rise marks the transition from primordial rule to Titan rule. Kronos overthrows his father by using a sickle forged by Gaia, separating sky from earth and creating the structure of the world as it exists in Percy Jackson. His power is rooted in time manipulation, leadership over the Titans, and the ability to command vast cosmic forces. He is included in this breakdown because his actions end the primordial era and directly reshape how the gods and monsters function in the Riordanverse. In Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Kronos returns as the main antagonist, using Luke Castellan as a vessel and manipulating demigods across camps. His influence reaches every part of the story: prophecies, quests, and the balance of power among gods. Although he is ultimately defeated, Kronos' actions permanently reshape the divine order. While he is not a primordial himself, understanding Kronos is essential for understanding how the primordial world evolved into the Olympian world and why their conflicts continue to ripple through the series. Thanatos. Thanatos is the god of death, and while technically not a full primordial, he is often grouped with them due to being a child of Nyx and tied to the earliest cosmic forces. Thanatos maintains the balance between life and death by ensuring souls reach the underworld. In the Son of Neptune, his imprisonment causes monsters to resurrect indefinitely. While not all-powerful, he is essential to the functioning of the world, making him one of the most impactful primordial-linked beings in the story. Percy Jackson. Percy Jackson is the son of Poseidon, the god of the sea, so water is his main power. He can move water like it's a tool, shaping it into walls to block attacks, waves to push enemies back, and fast jets that hit hard. Water also heals him and gives him energy. He can breathe underwater, handle deep pressure, and talk to sea creatures and even horses, because Poseidon rules those too. Sometimes Percy can affect mist or dirty liquids if they're mostly water, but he can't control every liquid. In real fights, Percy has spun up whirlpools to split enemy groups, raised tight water shields to protect friends, and pushed a poisonous cloud away by steering the moisture inside it. Once, he set off a volcano by pulling on heat and underground water. Proof he can do huge things, but only with a heavy cost. His limits are clear. He is strongest near rivers, lakes, and the ocean. Far from water, his powers drop, and using big moves makes him very tired and slower to react. Earthshake abilities belong to Poseidon's domain, but Percy can't use them on command without serious risk. That's why he still trains as a top swordsman. How to use Percy best: keep him near water so he can control the battlefield, then mix sword work with quick water bursts. Away from water, he fights smart and relies on teammates to help him stay hydrated. Jason Grace. Jason Grace is the son of Jupiter, the Roman king of the gods, so his powers come from the sky and storms. He can control wind to lift himself and fly, push enemies back, or steady falling friends. He can also call lightning, short, powerful blasts that hit fast, and he's trained to use both without hurting his team. In fights, Jason has broken up groups of flying enemies with sudden gusts, blasted tough targets with lightning, and stayed airborne long enough to fight in the air and guide his friends from above. His limits are mostly about energy and focus. Flying and throwing lightning drain him if he keeps them up for too long, and getting hurt or distracted can make him lose lift or aim. He works best in open spaces where the air can move freely. Tight caves and heavy buildings make his wind tricks harder. He's also a trained leader, so he keeps teams organized while he attacks. How to get the best out of Jason: give him height and room to move, let him control the sky, knock enemies off balance with wind, strike key targets with lightning, and call out positions to teammates on the ground. If you're enjoying this breakdown, tap like and hit subscribe so the next detailed walkthrough lands in your feed as soon as it's out. Thalia Grace. Thalia Grace is the daughter of Zeus, the Greek king of the gods, so her power comes from lightning and storms. She can call down lightning in sharp, targeted blasts and use short bursts of wind to shove foes or steady herself. She fights with a spear and shield, and her shield, Aegis, projects a terrifying Gorgon face that scares most monsters and makes crowds back off. As a hunter of Artemis, she's also highly trained with bows and ambush tactics, and she doesn't age while she stays with the hunters. Her limits are about fear and rules. Thalia has a fear of heights, so she doesn't fly or stay high in the air like Jason. The Hunter's Oath also sets strict duties and stops her from normal camp life. Lightning needs a clear line to the target, and using too much power too fast can tire her out or risk friendly fire if teammates are too close. How to utilize Thalia best? Let her hit first and hit hard. She's great at breaking enemy lines with a lightning strike, holding a choke point with spear and shield, and using Aegis to make monsters scatter so the team can pick them off. Nico D'Angelo. Nico D'Angelo is the son of Hades, the god of the underworld, so his power is tied to shadows, the dead, and the earth below. He can call up ghostly soldiers to distract or fight, pull darkness together into shields or bindings, and open cracks or spikes in the ground to trip or pin enemies. His signature move is shadow travel, stepping through one shadow and coming out of another, sometimes very far away. He can also sense death and make the air around him turn cold and scary, which weakens weak-willed foes. His limits are strict. Shadow travel is powerful but draining. Moving long distances or carrying people and heavy items makes him dizzy, freezing cold, and sometimes too weak to stand. Summoning the dead takes focus and leaves him tired, and in bright, open places with few shadows, his tricks are harder to use. If he overuses underworld power, he can lose strength fast and needs time, food, and warmth to recover. How to use Nico best? Treat him like a sneaky controller. Let him set ambushes from shadow, kidnap a key target out of a fight, or block a hallway with dark walls while the team regroups. Use him for surprise transport and quick exits, but plan rest breaks so he doesn't burn out. Hazel Levesque. Hazel Levesque is the daughter of Pluto, the Roman god of the underworld and riches beneath the earth. She can pull metals and gems out of the ground, shape the terrain into cracks, spikes, or pillars, and, after training with Hecate, bend the mist to create realistic illusions that fool sight and sound. She rides Arion, a magical horse that runs incredibly fast, letting her scout, reposition, or strike from unexpected angles. In fights, she has tricked enemies into stepping exactly where she wants, made solid cover appear where there was none, and turned rough ground into a trap that stops heavy hitters. Her power has limits. Pulling up treasure can carry curses that hurt mortals who touch it, so she has to be careful around bystanders. Big Earth moves and complex illusions take focus and drain her, and if she pushes too far, the control slips. Arion's speed is huge, but handling him in tight spaces is hard, and she still needs room to turn and stop safely. On a team, Hazel excels at setting the battlefield. She opens safe paths for friends, hides them with mist, and shapes the ground to slow or mislead enemies so strikers can finish the job. Annabeth Chase. Annabeth Chase is the daughter of Athena, the goddess of wisdom and strategy. Her power is her mind, planning, problem-solving, and staying calm under pressure. She reads a fight like a map, spots weak points, sets traps, and gives clear orders that make a small team feel bigger. She is also trained with knives and can hold her own in close combat, especially when she can use terrain, stairs, doorways, narrow halls, to control how enemies move. She understands ancient designs and puzzles, which lets her open paths others miss, and shut down dangers without a brawl. In major quests, she has solved complex trials built to break heroes, guided teams through mazes without getting lost, and turned enemy plans against them by thinking 3 steps ahead. Her limits are simple, but real. She doesn't throw fire or lightning. Most of her edge comes from knowledge, gear, and careful timing. If she's forced into a wide, open fight with no cover and no time to plan, she's at a disadvantage against heavy hitters. When she's carrying the whole plan on her back, leading, fighting, and solving puzzles at once, fatigue can slow her thinking, and one rush choice can open the team to a surprise attack. In a group, Annabeth is the coordinator and problem solver. She scouts the route, calls the order of moves, places the right person in the right spot, and turns the battlefield into something the team can manage. Give her a goal and a few minutes to think, and the path becomes clear. Leo Valdez. Leo Valdez is the son of Hephaestus, the god of fire and craft, so his strengths are building, fixing, and fire. He understands machines like other people understand speech. He can talk to gears, wiring, and engines, spot what's wrong, and make it work better. He designed and built the Argo II, repaired the metal dragon Festus, and turned scrap into tools, traps, and weapons on the spot. Leo also has rare fire powers for his cabin. He's heat-proof, can create and shape flames, and use them like a cutting torch, a shield, or a burst to push enemies back. He plans ahead, hides gadgets in his clothes, and stacks small tricks, Smoke, flash, glue, nets, so bigger foes get stuck or blinded before they know they're in trouble. His limits are practical. Fire eats oxygen and spreads fast, so using it in tight rooms is risky for everyone. Big builds need time and parts. If he has nothing to work with, his options shrink. Throwing flame for too long tires him, and wild emotions can make his fire spike or misfire if he's not careful. When he pulled off the huge endgame plan against Gaia, he survived with a special cure and careful setup, not raw power alone. On a team, Leo is the maker and problem fixer who turns bad ground into your ground. He rigs the field, opens doors, disables enemy gear, and uses smart bursts of fire when it truly helps. Piper McLean. Piper McLean is the daughter of Aphrodite. Her main power is charm speak, which means her voice can strongly persuade people to do or feel something. At first it's weak, but with training she turns it into a precise tool. She can calm fights, snap friends out of mind control, or force enemies to stand down long enough to end a battle safely. She reads emotions quickly, spots fear or pride she can use, and backs it up with fast knife work in close range. Piper carries a dagger called Catoptris. It sometimes shows short visions that warn her about danger or point to a clue. She also learns simple mist tricks that distract or change what people notice, so her words hit harder. There are clear limits. Strong-willed targets can resist her, especially powerful beings like gods and giants or leaders who are trained to keep control of their minds. If the target cannot hear her clearly, the effect fades or fails. Using charm speak too often or too forcefully makes her tired and less focused, and there are moral lines she will not cross, because pushing friends or bystanders can break trust. Catoptris only gives brief flashes, not full answers, so Piper still has to judge what is real in the moment. In a team, Piper is the one who stops battles from getting out of hand. She turns chaos into a pause, flips an enemy's bad choices back on them, and gives allies clean openings to finish the fight. Frank Zhang. Frank Zhang is the son of Mars, the Roman god of war. His biggest power is shape-shifting. He can turn into many different animals, from small birds to huge bears, and even a dragon. This lets him scout from the sky, hit hard up close, or break enemy lines with sheer size. He is also skilled with the bow and spear, so he can fight well even when he stays in human form. In battles, he keeps calm, takes orders, and gives them when needed. At key moments, he has been blessed by his war lineage, which boosts his strength and courage and helps him lead from the front. His power comes with clear risks. Frank's life is tied to a small piece of firewood. If that wood is ever burned up, he dies. Because of that, he guards it carefully and trusts only a few people with it. Shape-shifting also drains energy. Bigger, heavier forms are harder to hold and make him tired faster, and jumping between forms many times in one fight can slow his reactions. Turning into flying or fast animals is useful, but he still needs space to take off, land, or turn safely. On a team, Frank is the flexible fighter who fills the gap you need right now. He can start the fight as a fast scout, switch to a heavy form to smash a strong enemy, and finish as a steady archer covering his friends while they move. Reina Ramirez Arellano. Reina Ramirez Arellano is the daughter of Bellona, the Roman goddess of war. She is a trained commander who keeps a team steady under pressure. She fights with Roman weapons like the gladius and pilum and reads a battlefield fast, choosing ground that helps her side. She travels with two metal dogs, Aurum and Argentum, which scout, guard, and attack on command. Her rare gift is strength transference. By touch and will, she can lend part of her strength to a person or even to an object. She used this power to help move the Athena Parthenos and to keep long-distance travel from breaking her team. This gift also works the other way around. She can take on weight that would crush someone else and carry it for the group. Her limits are tied to endurance and focus. Lending strength costs her energy, and sharing too much at once can leave her shaky or lightheaded. The effect works best with clear contact and a clear target. Keeping a whole team moving for hours drains her faster than boosting one person for a short time. In a straight power contest against heavy hitters, she relies on training, timing, and formation rather than raw force. On missions, Reina is the stabilizer. She keeps order when others panic, covers weak spots with smart positioning, and uses her strength gift to push the team through tasks that would normally be impossible, like moving a cursed relic or finishing a hard march when everyone is nearly out of energy. Will Solace. Will Solace is the son of Apollo, the god of healing, light, and music. His main strength is medical power. He can sense what is wrong with someone, slow bleeding, ease pain, and speed up healing with touch, herbs, and controlled bursts of warmth and light. He runs battlefield triage, sets broken bones, treats poison and curses with the right mixtures, and keeps people stable while the fight continues. Will can also shine bright light to clear shadows, guide teammates, and disorient weaker monsters. He is a trained archer and can defend himself, but his first job is to keep everyone alive and moving. His limits show most in deep darkness and the underworld. Away from sunlight, his energy drops, and holding healing for too long makes him shaky and unfocused. He cannot fix everything at once. Heavy injuries still need time, supplies, and rest. Strong curses, rare poisons, and Tartarus-level wounds push him to the edge, and trying to heal while under attack splits his focus and slows results. On a team, Will is the medic and morale anchor. He keeps people on their feet, clears fear with a steady voice, and turns a losing fight into a survive and finish mission by stopping small wounds from becoming fatal. Meg McCaffrey. Meg McCaffrey is the daughter of Demeter, the goddess of crops and growing things. She controls plants in fast, practical ways. She can make roots shoot up to trip enemies, grow branches into shields, and whip vines to bind arms and legs. She can call grain spirits called Karpoi to chase or bite targets. She has shown plant travel, stepping into a tree or a patch of flowers and coming out of another plant nearby, which lets her escape or appear behind an enemy. Meg is also a trained fighter. She wears 2 rings that change into curved twin blades, and she uses quick footwork to strike while plants hold the target in place. Her power depends on the environment. She is strongest where there is soil, trees, or thick plant life. In stone corridors, deserts, or burned ground, she has less to work with and has to rely on her swords. Fire and strong acid can kill or weaken the plants she raises, and forcing huge growth too fast drains her energy and dulls her focus. Calling Karpoi helps, but they are willful and can cause chaos if she loses control. On a team, Meg is a fast controller who turns any green space into a trap. She blocks paths, pins threats, opens living cover for friends to move behind, and uses short, sharp sword strikes while her plants keep enemies from escaping. Clarice LaRue. Clarice LaRue is the daughter of Ares, the god of war. She is a frontline fighter who wins by hitting hard and not backing down. Her main weapon is a spear that delivers strong electric shocks on contact, stunning monsters and knocking enemies off their feet. She wears heavy armor well, drives a war chariot when the field allows it, and leads the Ares cabin in formations that push straight through defenses. Clarice trains for close combat every day, so her blocks, thrusts, and shield bashes are clean and fast. In major battles, she has broken enemy lines, held choke points under pressure, and led her cabin to take down larger creatures by staying tight and striking in rhythm. Her limits match her style. She is strongest up close. Long-range flyers, fast shooters, and spell users force her to close distance under fire. Anger is both fuel and risk. If she lets pride or rage lead, she can chase a target into bad ground or miss a trap. Heavy gear is powerful in open spaces, but tight tunnels and slippery terrain reduce her movement. The spear's shock is not endless. Repeated strikes drain stamina and require timing to stay effective. On a team, Clarice is the spearhead. She takes the front, absorbs the first hit, and creates the opening everyone else uses. Give her a clear target and room to advance, and she will crack the line so controllers and strikers can finish the fight. Zeus. Zeus is the king of the gods and ruler of Olympus. He controls the sky, storms, and thunder, and his authority places him above all other Olympians. He is one of the big 3 brothers, alongside Poseidon and Hades. After World War II, the 3 swore an oath never to have mortal children, fearing how destructive their demigod offspring could be. This oath was broken by Zeus and Poseidon. Zeus fathered Thalia Grace and Poseidon fathered Percy Jackson, while Hades did not break the oath. Nico and Bianca D'Angelo were born before the pact and later hidden in the Lotus Casino. Zeus's weapon is the Master Bolt, forged by the Elder Cyclops during the Titanomachy. It is the original lightning bolt, the source of his power, and his ultimate symbol of authority. Poseidon. Poseidon is the god of the sea, storms, earthquakes, and horses. He is one of the big 3 brothers, alongside Zeus and Hades. In the Percy Jackson series, Poseidon is most important as Percy's father, making Percy one of the demigods born after the oath of the big 3 was broken. Children of Poseidon can control and generate water, communicate with sea creatures and horses, heal rapidly when in contact with water, and stir storms or earthquakes. Percy demonstrates many of these powers throughout the series. Poseidon's weapon is the Trident, forged by the Elder Cyclops during the Titanomachy, which symbolizes his mastery over the seas. His palace lies beneath the ocean, described as a fortress of coral and pearls, guarded by sea spirits and marine life. Hades. Hades is the god of the dead and ruler of the underworld. He is one of the big 3 brothers, alongside Zeus and Poseidon, but he is not usually counted among the 12 Olympians because his throne is in the underworld rather than on Olympus. He also did not break the post-World War II oath. Nico and Bianca D'Angelo were born before the Pact and later hidden in the Lotus Casino. Hades governs the souls of the dead as well as the riches beneath the earth, such as precious metals and gems. In the Riordan universe, he is feared and often portrayed as bitter and distant from Olympus, but his role is vital to keeping the balance between life and death. Hades' weapon is the Helm of Darkness, forged by the Elder Cyclops during the Titanomachy, which grants him invisibility and radiates terror powerful enough to scatter entire armies. His realm, the Underworld, is described as vast and layered, with regions including the fields of Asphodel for ordinary souls, Elysium for the heroic and virtuous, and Tartarus as the deepest pit of punishment. His children include Nico and Bianca D'Angelo, and later Hazel Levesque through his Roman aspect, Pluto. Hades is not the god of death. That role belongs to Thanatos. Hera. Hera is the queen of Olympus and the goddess of marriage and family. She is both sister and wife to Zeus, and one of the 6 original Olympians born from Kronos and Rhea. In Riordan's world, Hera is feared by many demigods because of her hostility toward Zeus's mortal children. Though she has no demigod children of her own, she is one of the most powerful goddesses on Olympus, and her authority as queen gives her a voice equal to Zeus on the council. Hera plays a major role in the Heroes of Olympus, where she removes Percy's memory, engineers the arrival of Jason Grace, and forces the Greek and Roman demigods toward alliance. In Roman form, she is known as Juno, and her manipulation of events shapes the entire prophecy of 7. On Olympus, her throne is described as tall, elegant, and regal, reflecting her status as queen of the gods. Demeter. Demeter is the goddess of agriculture, grain, and the harvest. She is one of the 6 original Olympians born to Kronos and Rhea, and the sister of Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Hera, and Hestia. Her most famous myth is the story of her daughter Persephone, who was taken to the underworld by Hades. Demeter's grief caused the earth to grow barren, and only a compromise restored balance. Persephone would spend part of the year with her mother and part of the year in the underworld. This cycle created the seasons, with spring and summer marking Persephone's return, and autumn and winter her absence. In Riordan's world, Demeter is protective, serious, and often hostile toward Hades because of this myth. Her children inherit powers tied to nature, such as manipulating plants, controlling vines, and drawing strength from fertile land. On Olympus, her throne is decorated with golden wheat and barley, symbols of her dominion over the harvest. Hestia. Hestia is the goddess of the hearth, the home, and the family fire. She is the eldest of the Olympian siblings, born to Kronos and Rhea before Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Hera, and Demeter. In Greek tradition, she was honored in every household as the spirit of the hearth, and offerings to the gods always began with her. On Olympus, Hestia once held a throne, but she voluntarily gave it up to Dionysus, choosing to preserve peace among the gods. In Riordan's world, this sacrifice does not diminish her importance. Instead, she becomes central to the prophecy that concludes Percy's story, where she is revealed as the last Olympian. Hestia's power is quiet but enduring, symbolized by the eternal flame, and she represents the stability that allows Olympus to survive. Athena. Athena is the goddess of wisdom, crafts, and strategic warfare. She is one of the 12 Olympians and the daughter of Zeus and Metis. A prophecy warned that Metis would bear a child more powerful than its father, so Zeus swallowed her while she was pregnant. Later, Zeus suffered a terrible headache and Hephaestus split his skull open. From it, Athena emerged fully grown and armored. Unlike other Olympians, Athena does not have physical children. In Riordan's world, her demigods are mind-born, created through thought and her blessing of mortal fathers. These children inherit her intelligence, skills in architecture and crafts, and her talent for battle strategy. Athena's rivalry with Arachne, a mortal who defied her weaving, explains why Annabeth Chase and other Athena children fear spiders. Annabeth herself is Athena's most important child in Percy Jackson's story, embodying her mother's wisdom and strategic mind. On Olympus, Athena's throne is depicted as tall and dignified, decorated with the owl and olive tree, which symbolize wisdom and peace. Ares. Ares is the god of war, representing bloodlust, violence, and the chaos of battle. He is the son of Zeus and Hera and one of the 12 Olympians. Unlike Athena, who governs strategic and defensive warfare, Ares embodies the raw brutality of combat. In Riordan's world, Ares is hot-tempered, arrogant, and vindictive, with children who inherit his skill in fighting and his aggression. Ares plays a major role in The Lightning Thief. Luke Castellan steals Zeus's Master Bolt and Hades' Helm of Darkness, and Ares, manipulated by Kronos, later takes possession of the stolen items and uses them to bait Percy into a duel. During the fight, Percy manages to cut Ares and draw godly ichor, a feat almost unheard of for a demigod. This humiliation leaves Ares furious and vengeful, leading him to later curse Percy's weapon to fail him when he needed it most. Ares' weapon is a magical war sword, which can shift into different forms of weaponry. On Olympus, his throne is described as towering and menacing, decorated with blood-red metals and weapons of war. In his Roman form, Mars, he is more disciplined and strategic, contrasting with the chaotic violence of Ares. Apollo. Apollo is the god of the sun, archery, music, poetry, healing, and prophecy. He is the twin brother of Artemis and one of the 12 Olympians. In mythology, Helios once guided the sun across the sky, but in Riordan's world, Apollo holds the sun's mantle along with his many other domains. He is the patron of the Oracle of Delphi, which ties him directly to every major prophecy in the series. Apollo is portrayed as arrogant, witty, and dramatic, often expressing himself through bad haikus, but his role is central to guiding heroes. His children are skilled in archery, music, and healing, and some inherit the gift of prophecy. Apollo is also the main character of the Trials of Apollo series, where Zeus punishes him by casting him into a mortal body. His weapon is a golden bow that fires arrows of sunlight, and his throne on Olympus is radiant, decorated with solar imagery and instruments of music. Artemis. Artemis is the goddess of the hunt, the wilderness, wild animals, and the moon. She is the twin sister of Apollo and one of the 12 Olympians. In Riordan's books, Artemis appears as a young maiden, often described as 12 years old, though she is ageless and eternally sworn to remain a virgin goddess. She has no demigod children. Instead, she leads the Hunters of Artemis, an immortal band of maidens who swear loyalty to her in exchange for eternal youth and enhanced abilities in hunting, archery, and combat. This immortality lasts only as long as they remain in her service and can still be ended if they fall in battle. Artemis plays a central role in the Titan's Curse, where her capture by Atlas sets off the quest of the book, and her hunters are recurring allies to Percy and his friends. She is portrayed as stern and mistrustful of males, often addressing Percy only as boy, but she commands deep respect. Her weapon is a silver bow that fires arrows of moonlight, and her throne on Olympus is decorated with silver, lunar symbols, stags, and hunting imagery. Hephaestus. Hephaestus is the god of fire, metalworking, and the forge. He is one of the 12 Olympians and the son of Hera. In some myths, Hera conceived him alone and cast him from Olympus because of his deformity, while in others, Zeus threw him down during a quarrel. Crippled but undeterred, Hephaestus became the divine smith of Olympus, forging weapons, armor, and automatons for the gods. In Riordan's world, Hephaestus is portrayed as stern and practical, with a deep connection to invention and machinery. His children are natural mechanics, able to sense and repair flaws in machines, craft magical tools, and in rare cases wield fire itself, as shown by Leo Valdez in the Heroes of Olympus. Hephaestus also appears in the Battle of the Labyrinth, guiding Percy and warning him of the dangers tied to Daedalus and his creations. His throne on Olympus is heavy and metallic, decorated with anvils, flames, and gears, symbolizing his dominion over the forge. Aphrodite. Aphrodite is the goddess of love, beauty, lust, and desire. She is one of the 12 Olympians, though her origins are unusual. In mythology, she was born from sea foam when Kronos cast the remains of Uranus into the ocean, making her older than many of the Olympians themselves. In Riordan's world, Aphrodite is often dismissed as shallow or superficial, but her influence is among the most dangerous, because love and desire can spark both unity and conflict. Her children often struggle with these themes, and some inherit charmspeak, the ability to influence others through their voice. This rare gift requires control, as seen with Piper McLean in the Heroes of Olympus, who learns to use it as both a weapon and a tool for leadership. Aphrodite herself intervenes at key moments in the series, such as during the Titan's Curse and later in guiding Piper's path. On Olympus, her throne is graceful and adorned with roses, doves, and emblems of beauty, reflecting her domain over attraction and passion. Hermes. Hermes is the god of travelers, messengers, trade, and thieves. He is the son of Zeus and the nymph Maia and one of the 12 Olympians. In mythology and in Riordan's world, Hermes is the fastest of the gods and a trickster, but he also carries a heavier role as the psychopomp, guiding souls to the underworld. At Camp Half-Blood, Hermes' cabin was historically the most crowded, since it served as the home for both his own children and all unclaimed demigods. His children are known for their resourcefulness, stealth, and talent with communication, and many become messengers or scouts. Hermes' symbols are his winged sandals and the caduceus, a staff entwined with serpents that, in Riordan's books, speaks through the snakes George and Martha. Hermes appears in the Sea of Monsters and The Last Olympian, where he tries to advise Percy but also shows his guilt over neglecting Luke Castellan, whose betrayal haunts him. His throne on Olympus is described as light and airy, decorated with wings, serpents, and trade emblems, reflecting his domains of speed, commerce, and boundaries. Dionysus. Dionysus is the god of wine, theater, and madness. He is one of the 12 Olympians because Hestia voluntarily gave up her throne for him, making him the newest member of the council. He is the son of Zeus and the mortal Semele, making him the only Olympian with a mortal parent. In mythology, Semele was destroyed when Zeus revealed his true form, but the unborn child was saved when Zeus sewed him into his thigh until birth. In Riordan's world, Dionysus is better known as Mr. D, the director of Camp Half-Blood. As punishment from Zeus for pursuing a wood nymph, he was forbidden to drink wine and sentenced to 100 years of service at camp. Any attempt to conjure wine turns instead into soda, usually Diet Coke. At camp, he is sarcastic and dismissive, often misnaming Percy as Peter Johnson. But he is also capable of great power, defending Camp Half-Blood with vines in The Last Olympian. His children, such as Castor and Pollux, inherit abilities tied to vines, madness, and revelry. Dionysus's symbols include the grapevine and the thyrsus, a pine-cone-tipped staff wrapped in ivy. On Olympus, his throne is covered in vines and theatrical masks, reflecting his domains of wine, madness, and performance.